Okay, so this is the lighting kit and fan controller that we decided to go with. We're actually going with my old case, the Corsair 750D, because there were just too many difficulties with water cooling in the Fantex. You just wouldn't see the reservoir, and I can't see going through all that work to not see it, so we're going to use my old one and spruce it up a little bit with this lighting stuff, and the fan controller will just help overall. It's better than the fan controller that was in the Fantex case anyway. From left to right, this is the Corsair SP120 RGB static pressure fans. Those are going to go on the Radiator. Then next you have the Corsair HD 140s RGB as well, but they have a little bit more function. They are going to go in the two in the front and one in the back of the case. The Lighting Node Pro is 4 LED strips, which will be connected to the Commander Pro, which is a fan controller and also controls LEDs, and also has 4 temperature sensors, so that's pretty neat too. I think that's it. We're going to also get a front panel for the Corsair 750D, but I don't have that yet, so that'll come soon. So now we're going to put the Commander Pro fan controller and light controller and thermal sensors in, and then also the Lighting Node Pro, which is more LED strips. So it's got 6 fan headers, 2 LED, 4 temps, and 2 USBs. So one USB is for the Lighting Node Pro, and then the other USB is actually going to be my case USB, because I have to plug this USB into the motherboard, and I only have one. So my case front USB is going to go into this, and hopefully it'll still work. It should. People online said it's a USB, header, so it should. And that's SATA, so that one just needs SATA, but it is USB to the other unit, so. And then,
They give you a connector?
Yeah, they give you everything, all the cables, more tape, LED strips, 4 temperature thermal headers. They give you 4 fan extensions, which is nice. I don't know what these are. They're 3-pin. They look like RGB extenders. I think that's what they are. And then what else? What does this one have? This one has... Actually, I can just tell right here. Yeah, those are RGB extenders on the other thing for LEDs. So they give you, the USB, more extensions, and more extensions. Jesus. They give you all kinds of extensions. This is where we decided to put our Commander Pro fan controller, light controller, and the Lighting Node Pro for more LED strips. It came with double-sided adhesive tape to stick on there. I put, a strip vertical on each side and stuck it. It was pretty good. It stuck really well. It wasn't like cheap adhesive tape. It was good. It's the new one. Frosted blades. Oh, that'll look beautiful. Okay, after much struggling, fooling around, I got the front case fans out. The hard part was getting the new ones in because I couldn't use the old case fans that went in through the front that were long screws. I had to use short ones that they came with through the back of the fans. And it's strange because this is a Corsair case and the old fans were Corsair and the new fans are Corsair, but it was more difficult than it should have been. So now we're going to put the new fans on the Radiator, so I'll show you that next. Okay, so this is our 360 Radiator by EK that we're putting on the top. We've got 3 of these to use. The only real difference being the black outside. There's no LEDs in this outside. All the LEDs are in here, whereas the other ones that we put on the outside and the back of the case are all on the outside. Okay, so after about an hour, I figured out how I'm going to mount these Corsair fans on the EK Rad. The whole EK water cooling kit came with Varder fans. I'm going to be using the long screws that you would normally put through those into the radiator to screw the fans in, because these Corsair SP120s did not come with long screws. They only came with short case screws. So that's like, they don't tell you that or anything if you intend to use them for a radiator mount like I did. Maybe they do if you buy the 3-pack, but we bought them all separately. So I'm going to use these from the EK kit, and then thankfully my Fantex case came with a screw box, and it had exactly 12 screws, I assume which are for water cooling, and my AIO that's in it has different screws. I don't know what screws I used. Maybe they came with the AIO, probably. Anyway, thankfully it had exactly 12, so we're going to use those to screw the radiator into the case. Really nice. It's going to look really, really nice. One will be covered, but because it'll be inside the drive bay, but I need an optical drive. I can't not have an optical drive. Alright, now we're going to install the radiator. That's the radiator with the fans on it, looking real snazzy. 2 cables on each fan, one for power, one for LEDs. Okay, well, those are all done. Put my top back on. Okay, so this is the last, and mark my words, the very last video on this Corsair setup, because the trouble that we had to go through. Now, mind you, again, we made the mistake of ordering the fans separately, not in a 3-pack, but irregardless, it shouldn't be this difficult to hook up, and it shouldn't be so complicated, and you have to figure it out on like your own or on looking on the internet with other people figuring it out, because the trouble I went through is just ridiculous. So we're just going to go through it one time to explain exactly how all this works, how all of it connects together. So this is the entire setup that I have. I'm going to try to do this best as I can without getting confused, because it's very confusing. But we have the Commander Pro, the Lighting Node Pro, and 2 RGB fan hubs. That was the point of doing all this. I wanted RGB fans and strips, and the Commander Pro seemed like a good option because it has 6 fan headers, 2 LED headers, 4 temperature sensors, and 2 USB. The Commander Pro I originally thought would be able to control the lights of the fans. Well, it can't. These are needed for each set of fans, being that I have 3 SP fans and 3 HD fans. One is needed for SP fan colors and one is needed for HD fan colors. I originally had them all connected to one because we ordered one and we thought that would work, but 3 of the fans only lit up all white. Couldn't change the color or pattern on them. I was informed by technical support that you need 1 per set of fans, which again, they don't say that anywhere in the books or on the websites or anything. They just assume that when you buy a 3-pack, each 3-pack comes with one of these. So that is again our mistake. We should have bought 3-pack instead of individual, but anyway, these RGB LED fan hubs, one is for SP, one is for HD. They are both plugged in with fan hub cables to the LED channels on the Commander Pro. And those are the fan hub cables that we mistook for LED extension cables. They're specifically for connecting these hubs to either of these devices. Being that I have 4 strips of LEDs, and I'll show that in the front when it's all lit up and explain that a little more. The 2 headers on the Lighting Node Pro are used for all 4 strips. 2 of the strips are connected to each other, so there's technically 2 strips on each input here, and this is connected USB to the Commander Pro, and every single one of these boxes uses a 12-volt SATA. So we have used up all of our 12-volt SATAs on the power supply that it came with, because we have 3 SSDs, 2 regular hard drives, optical disk drive, and then 4 control boxes for Corsair stuff. And nobody that I saw that did a review or video of this showed that you need these boxes plus these boxes to run 6 fans, 2 sets, different types, and all the LED strips. So we've got it all hooked together now. We also will spin the case around and show you where we connected the thermal sensors. They're a little hard to see, but they're connected. We'll show you. So yeah, but that's what we had to wait for this second unit so we could connect them. But we're done. We are no longer going into the back of this case. These 2 are hooked up hooked to this is hooked to this, everything is hooked to everything, so everything should work. Okay, as you can see here, we connected the thermal sensors using thermal adhesive tape that we had to order on Amazon. Unfortunately it's blue, so it doesn't blend in. I wish they had black, but just to give you an idea, we connected it on the back of the fans to measure the intake. This is an intake on the bottom here to cool the pump and the reservoir. So that is going to be measured, the intake air will be measured with that thermal sensor. And then similarly on the front intake, we didn't do the one on the bottom because it's covered by the pump and reservoir, but the one up top is another intake, and that will be measured by that thermal sensor there. And we did a very similar thing on the back. As you can see there, that is the out of it's the exhaust fan on the back of the case, and we have that similarly taped to the back of the fan, and that will give us the temperature of the exhaust coming out of the case. And lastly, I'm going to have to get mobile here. The final temperature sensor is measuring the exhaust of the radiator, and what we did for that, we have it fed through. It's kind of hard to see. Yeah, you guys can see it. It's measuring the exhaust out of the radiator, so it comes up out through the back and just tucked under there. We didn't need tape because the blue tape would stand out too much. This way you don't really see it. Now we are going to do the wire work and turn around to see all the lights working properly this time. So we'll check back when we have that.